standing here in front of the Mimar Sinan Camii. As you can see, it's a very beautiful Camii. It's here in Ataşehir. I would like to begin by thanking TRT for having me here today. Thank you for watching. I guess the first thing I'd like to say is that my name is Mauro Martino, my birth name. Later on, when I became a Turkish citizen, I took on the name Mevlud Merdolu. I'm very happy to be Mevlud Merdolu. In fact, I would like to be known as Mevlud here in Turkey. I became a Muslim 30 years ago. I was very fortunate to have met a very wonderful human being, a mystical human being. His name was Bawa Muhayyadin. In short, he appeared in a dream I had in 1977. 8 years later, I met him, and he revealed the dream to me without my having asked him or told him anything about the dream. And from him, I understood that I was a Muslim. I first came to Turkey in 1974. I was staying on an island in Greece called Samos. I was 21 years old, pretending to write. And then one day from a hilltop, I saw this country, and a friend of mine said, "Why don't we go over there? That's Turkey." So we arrived in Kuşadası, and the first day I sat there, I heard the azan. I'd never heard the azan before, but it struck me very, very deeply. 11 years later, I answered the call to that azan. 1974, I heard it. 1985, I became a Muslim. And in 1995, I met this wonderful human being in Canada called Abdülkadir Şaşmaz. Abdülkadir Şaşmaz is the father of Polat Alemdar. I mean Necati Şaşmaz. Anyways, in 1995, I met this man and I loved him very, very much, and he invited me to Turkey. I came again. Again, I renewed my interest and my love with the country, and I came several times. During that time, I became very, very close friends with Necati Şaşmaz. And one night, over the phone, I was speaking with Necati, and he said to me, "Why don't you come to Turkey?" I said, "Could you please give me 3 days to think about it? I have a job here." I had a very good job, in fact. I was a teacher. And I thought about it for 1 hour. I called him back and I said, "I'm going to come." And for the past 11 years, I can honestly say this has been my Cennet. I love Turkey very much. Obviously, I became a Turkish citizen. Sometimes I wish the Turks would understand that they live in the most beautiful country in the world. Everything is here, and I'm very happy to be here. I would also like to say a little bit about the Al-Fatiha. The Al-Fatiha for me is the most wonderful thing really that I've ever read. In the end, I think the Al-Fatiha becomes the X-ray of what a human being really looks like. If you can take an X-ray of a human being, you'll see bones inside the inner body. But if you take a spiritual X-ray, you'll see the Al-Fatiha. And in this Al-Fatiha, you see that God addresses us with mercy and compassion. So whatever else comes in that book, whatever else we can say about the Quran, if we don't have mercy and compassion, really we become useless things. Maybe we can recite the Quran, maybe we can insist on the rules of the Quran, but without mercy and compassion, of what use really is that book? And what I see in this Al-Fatiha is that God tells me that He has mercy and compassion for me. And then in the end, He tells me that there's two roads. And that very often in life we come to a point where two roads converge. If you choose one road, it seems to be full of thorns. If you choose the other road, it becomes full of roses, full of fragrance. And it seems to me that God is always kind of nudging me, always trying to push me to the side of the rose road. He doesn't want me to be on the road of the thorns. But he also tells me in the Quran that there's no compulsion. I'm not going to force you to do it. He tells me that if you take all the water in the world and all the trees in the world and turn them into ink and into pens, and you go about trying to write the end result of this Quran, the end meaning of the Quran, you will never reach it. That tells me that really, if there's no compulsion in the world, I have endless freedom with God. And I have endless freedom in trying to find the meaning of my journey with God. But I'm understanding that in this endless journey, this endless meeting towards God, He's giving me Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And the reason we chose this mosque today, the Mimar Sinan Camii, is only because I happen to live in Ataşehir. It's very convenient to where I live. But as you can see, it's a very beautiful mosque. It's patterned after the mosque, the Suleiman Camii. This Camii was built on the Eastern metric system, not the Western metric system. So as you can see, it really closely resembles older Camis, in particular the Suleiman Camii. The facilities are also oriented for people in their everyday lives. For example, underneath the Camii you can find a shopping concourse. You can find a cafe and a restaurant in the back of here with wonderful picnic tables and beautiful trees that will protect you from the heat of the day. So there's a life that you can live here beyond just coming here to pray. I'm not particularly in love with any particular Camii. All Camis to me are beautiful. The whole world is my Camii. The whole world is my prayer mat. Wherever I am, I must understand that I'm inside the Camii. The most beautiful Camii is the Camii inside of us. If we can live inside that Camii, then we have no problems with all the other Camis. These Camis are merely symbolic places where we gather because we have these physical bodies. But in general, or more specifically, I would like to think that if we can reach the inner Camii, then we've reached the heart and the soul of all these other Camis that we've built because of our respect for Allah. Perhaps some of you also know that I'm a writer. I have 4 books that are translated into Turkish. The book that is most well known is Ruju. In this book, it's autobiographical. I talk about how I became a Muslim. I also have a book called Aşka Donuş, Lokman Hakim Sokaya, and Adına Sen Koy. In September, October, I will have a book of poems published with my illustrations. And all of these books are also published in English worldwide. I hope to give something to the world that would make people look at their own lives and decide what's best for themselves. We're living in a wonderful country, and I think Turkey gives us many wonderful opportunities to live a life where we can share things together. Nowhere in the world have I seen a country more beautiful than Turkey when it comes to people wanting to be together. So in that togetherness, it's a very good thing if we give each other good things. I hope I'm giving something good back to Turkey because Turkey has given me many, many wonderful things. I hope your fasting is going wonderfully, and if we can gain a little more peace during this time of fasting, then we have gotten a very, very big reward. I would like to say, Happy Ramadan. Hayırlı Ramazanlar. Hayırlı Ramazanlar.
Allahu Ekber, Allahu Ekber. Allahu Ekber, Allahu Ekber. Eşhedü en la